To
Hi, Stephen Melendres here, Commissioner Melendres, the Survey Committee Chairperson. I hereby call the Survey Committee meeting to order as of 6:28 on February 20. Thank you.
Hi.
I'm going to go over through the agenda, then we'll go and do question and answer type stuff. Okay, rules of speaking. Anyone wishing to speak is asked to raise his or her hand and when recognized by the chair to address comments to the chair. Speakers are to keep the comments under 2 minutes. Public taken at the beginning of each agenda item. Please silence all electronic devices. Put them on stun. Note, the commission may take action on any agenda item as required by the state sunshine law, HRS 92. Specific issues not noted on the agenda cannot be voted on unless properly added to the agenda per sunshine law in our neighborhood plan. Okay, I call the meeting to order. Public concerns. Do we have any public concerns today? Dylan, do we have people in the audience?
no, just commissioners in the room tonight.
Okay, I see us. Okay, great. Okay, let's go to the approval of the committee minutes as of the January 23rd, the written summary for video record. Has everyone had a chance to look at these yet?
Yes.
Yeah, I could share screen. Actually, I can't share screen. I'm on my. Can you go ahead and put the Dylan, put the meeting minutes up on your screen? For me?
That would take a moment. They were brief.
I see no issue.
Okay, I can just go through it. It's okay. We don't need that. That's fine. We'll hold on that.
Yeah, as long as if there's no corrections, then they're basically approved as written.
Do we have any comments from the commissioners on the draft survey committee meeting minutes for January 23rd? Any comments from anybody?
No. No. No.
Okay.
I
Thank
move
you.
Minutes.
Are there any, hearing that, are there any, I moved to go ahead and accept the minutes as written. Are there any abstentions?
No. No.
No? Okay, hearing none, we'll accept the meetings as written, as drafted. Okay, now let's go continue.
And I second your move.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Okay, board business. The members of the Commission Survey Committee shall review, discuss, make recommendations to the Survey Committee Commission Survey for final annotation prior to presenting to the full Commission for acceptance consideration. Motion to adopt the survey and present to the full Commission. I don't know if we're ready to move on that right now. I may defer this. Let's go ahead and take a poll of the commissioners. Commissioners, how are you doing on everything today?
I'm ready.
Are we
to
still
present.
finessing our numbers, our narrative?
I think to me, let me raise my hand.
Go ahead, Claire.
So I suggest that we identify certain categories, like minutes, venue, budget, or expenses, and then we can see if all of our concerns fit into any of these sections, and then go from there. Because I think I don't know if the neighborhood commission survey is similar to that, but I would say that let's set aside sections, because right now what we got, the feedback we got is all in prose. It's like in a thought here,
That's
a thought
right.
there. So if we can organize it that way, it would be easier.
Very
I
good.
see.
Go ahead. Other commissioners, go ahead and comment on that. Yes, Larry, go ahead. I see your hand.
Okay, I just for feedback for all, the way I understood it was we were supposed to review our assignments, those pages. I had 5 through 8, and what I did is I provided a critique synopsis of what I read to keep it condensed to the point. And I only had really 2 individuals that they said so much but it took up all those pages. So individual one, a synopsis of individual one was, it was their critique on what should have been in the survey. And then individual number two talked about same things that we already knew that there were concerns. The time limit on meetings, agenda, meetings, for the minutes being 4 pages, that kind of stuff. But I got it. The 5 pages that I had is condensed on 3/4 of a sheet as a report.
Right.
See that what
You did.
what was the so what factor when I got that 5 to 8 pages? What was the most important thing that I need to get to the commission and to the hopefully into the neighborhood plan review to let them know that hey, these were concerns. So that's what I got on paper. You have my report electronically already, and what Claire said, I think that's kind of like after that should be the follow on to gather to condense it even more, bulletized on what needs to go to the commission and the plan and the neighborhood plan review.
Okay, understood. Commissioner Larry, you did good. Thank you, Claire, for the comments.
Chair,
Mahia, yes, please go ahead.
so at our last January meeting, and Dylan has it, what I discovered in my pages 9 through 12, most of the complaints came from Diamond Hood, Kapahulu, St. Louis Heights Neighborhood Board 5. And again, just to iterate, it was about location. And Dylan, if you could help, I forget what I submitted at the last meeting, but it was location and meeting minutes and
The duration of the
the
meeting.
narration of the meeting minutes. And I wanted to add something else that I found as I did another review.
Please.
Someone made a comment about quote unquote new policies complaint. So whatever new policies have been introduced over the past since Executive Secretary Yonenaka and his staff has come on, there was complaints about the quote unquote new policies. So that was something that I found. And Dylan, I think I covered everything. Did I miss something that because changed
I
other
think,
than I found the new policies complaint?
yeah, I think you said
Yeah.
narration of meetings, but it was duration.
Yeah.
That was when they were
Right,
talking
okay.
about like 3-hour time limit. And then I don't know if
Duration.
this is specifically, but at the last survey committee meeting, there was discussion of the responsibility of chairs and secretaries.
Okay, so in addition to that, I just wanted to add on quote unquote the new policies complaining.
Thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
I do recall that. That was a time when, at the commission meeting, over a year ago, the executive secretary put together a list of policies, if you will. And then I talked to Dylan about that. Then evidently they were, at the time I asked Chair Oshiro, is this policy or what is the purpose of this? And I was told this is only for discussion. Unfortunately, though, those items were published. So I got feedback from a number of the board chairs saying, what are we supposed to do with this? And I had to go back to them saying they're for discussion. But evidently, several of those did roll into policies. And the commission is the only one that has the authority to make policies. NCO doesn't.
Right.
The NCO makes for their office, runs their office, can do policies into the county, but not into the commission. So it does cause a little bit of confusion. So so noted on your narrative. At this point, I would like to see if we could, if you all, let's discuss this. I would like to, we have our commission meeting next Monday. I would like to take and fulfill our assignments from last meeting, which is break out what we have and then just provide that. I'd like to go ahead and take what you all have and what I have and put that into a document and then submit that for um, draft discussion to the commission, not a finished product. Because I agree with Claire's, if you all agree with on that, Claire's statement is about as far as running it into different categories. And Commissioner Larry's statements is correct. That does appear to be the next step because we could run this two different ways. One of which is that the survey is a survey. All it is statements or questions, and let it run like that without doing categories. But there is so many that if you all feel we should run it in categories, that's fine with me too. What is your opinion?
Um, oh, I have my hand up, I think, but I don't know where it is on my thing here.
Go ahead, Claire. I got
I
you.
think what I heard, what Larry said and Mahia said, I think we've already identified, um, you know, like if we just do even minutes, because everybody talked about minutes, um, length of meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all sub categories that all questions can fit in there. Address those concerns that people had and put them in those categories. You know, venue expenses, costs. Yeah, that seems to be all that I have. Also, issue about minutes, the recording, and the length of meeting and
Let
costs.
Understood. Let's present what we have. If you all can email to me what you have, and I'll put it together in a document with my stuff and submit it as a draft for discussion only. Dylan, I know you talked about voting to pass it, but I don't think we're at the point yet to do that. I'd like to do another run through on this before we do that. So it may be the following month. But I would like to share with the commission where we're at in the process and
Well,
ask if the commissioners feel that it would be best to present it in categories. What I did initially in the survey questions, I did put them in categories. They're all in categories. Um, some of them were that were redundant were eliminated. Some were combined, and a lot of them were simplified so that those anyway, this is a data. This is data driven right now. Remember, when the survey goes out, it's going to go out electronically on a list of questions or statements, and saying, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? So it actually would make sense to present it in categories when it goes out to survey to all the members of the boards for their opinion. It would
Steve,
make sense to put it in categories. Yeah, go ahead.
Steve,
Chair.
I just think since, given what we said at the last commissioner meeting, I
Mhm.
think if we're looking at not about whether one says a meeting is too long or the meeting is too short, or we don't like the new rules that the executive secretary said, but like if, let's for example, we pick a section on minutes, and we're talking about the detail of the minutes, or you can ask those open-ended questions, but I wanted to see if can we fit those categories into what the neighborhood commission survey already has. Because if the neighborhood commission survey already addresses topics of the different aspects of the minutes, the different aspects of the time limit, or the recording, then, or training, then we don't have to ask it again a second time. If what we've looked at, from what our survey committee's feedback is addressed by the neighborhood boards, the neighborhood commissions survey that they wanted to put out, if that's addressed by the issues that we see in our 18 pages of 17 to 18 pages of documents, then I don't see us having to do it twice.
Mm.
Okay. Um, yes, understood. Larry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to recommend, Claire, would you be comfortable in drafting up a memorandum for record, a report from us? You do the initial draft, because you talked about, because I really think that we can do a one-pager to say it all. And if you take a look at it, and what you do is just give points to each of the concerns that came up. We all know that everybody was concerned about the 3-hour limit. So if you had like 5 people address that, make that as your number one priority in your bullet. The next one will be the length of the meetings. We already saw that, and I don't know if I can't remember if there was anything about Alelo, but you just go down each one, and these were the concerns that came up in the survey recommending the neighborhood, it be reviewed by the neighborhood plan committee. But I think that we need to put this to bed. This has gone too damn long, and we need to, and I really think it's time to go to the commission, and then the commission, if they approve it, go right to the neighborhood plan committee, and then when Commissioner Smith gets to that item on the neighborhood plan, they can refer to it and say, okay, these are concerns, let's review it. Let's see if there requires any changes. And then all the other personal stuff, because what's interesting is, Mahia, I stopped at page 8. It kept going, page 9, 10, 11. And I'll be honest with you, I did not comment on that because that was, it was more personal to me than providing recommendations. Okay?
Right.
So, and I thought that would be at a different level of view. It doesn't need to be on public.
Okay.
So-
Go ahead, Claire.
Okay, so this is, you tell me if I've missed any of the categories. I have length of meeting, minutes, training, venue, and NCO staffing.
And also new procedures,
Well,
new policies.
But doesn't that come under, okay, but what is under new policies?
Well,
That's-
here,
Go ahead.
Chair, if I could, okay, so I'll just read
Yes.
this. In an email on page number 9, middle paragraph, it's the
Because
author
I had
of
the
the
same
email.
subject.
Okay, the author of the email wrote that, where am I? Oh, here. Then after, okay, then on the coattails of this grandstanding came the arbitrarily imposed new quote unquote policies handed to the commission to follow along with. And this continues to this day at their meetings with no consultation with or from the community district board members. So that I pulled that out this time around that I was reviewing this, and it referred to quote unquote new policies. So it was
Right.
just one email that referred to that, but I wanted to bring it to your attention.
Okay, but Mahela,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Under new policies would
Hmm.
be things like, what are they talking about? The new policies would be the minutes, the length of the meeting,
There's,
those kinds of things.
Right.
I
Right.
remember,
Well,
I remember when they came out and there was a list of new
Mhm.
items, 8 or 9 items, and then they were presented by NCO, and then at the time we discussed them in the commission meeting, when I said, well, who originated these? And they only brought up for discussion, but unfortunately they did go out to the boards. So the boards came back to me and said, are these our policies? What is this? Who generated it? So if we could just put that as a, so let's go ahead and summarize where we're at. So Larry, you've asked Claire to go ahead and do a summary memo as to the categories, correct?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
if you
It's
can do that,
memorandum
that'd be
for-
great.
And then it's a
Yeah,
draft. We all
memorandum
look
for the
at it.
record.
And then when you approve
And
it,
then-
it's ready to go. But the other thing is, I think if you dust off Lloyd's agenda that he presented to the Conference of Chairs back in June of 2024, was it? That's when all the new ideas came out for was it 2023 or 2024?
I think
23? 2023. There were like four different things that people were concerned because they weren't ready for change. And
Yeah.
that's when the quality, bringing in technology to do the video minutes, to have that as a backup. Also, changing from 8 pages to 4 pages for the minutes. The content of the minutes, don't forget, Claire, there's 2 bullets. It's going from not having the ability to go 8 pages, and they were restricted to 4. And then the other thing was the content, because they wanted to make, some board members or boards wanted to make sure that the content was there for all their action items. What happened on those action items for board business.
Okay.
Right. What I'd like to
Yeah,
do, if it's
And then
okay
the
with
other thing was
y'all, is that
Olelo being cut off because at the end of the meeting, they weren't gonna get NCO the assistant support and no Olelo support. That was the other thing.
So wouldn't
And
that
I
come
think
under?
that's it.
Yep.
Those are the big ones. You know, and
So
yes, the
that-
policy thing
Yep.
covers all that.
So let the
Larry and Claire, I'd like to insert Dylan's statement from last meeting was exceptional. It was exactly correct. Is that our board meetings have 3 hours from start to finish. The NAs get there early to set up, they stay late to break down, and we on the boards help them do both, set up and break down. But there was a misconception, and it wasn't based upon NCO, it was based upon the venue. The venue perhaps said you have to be out in a certain time, which may have reduced the time in the meetings, but that was not an NCO item. That was a venue item. So Dylan, could you refresh our memories on your statement from last time?
Yes, sure. So I believe you hit the main point, which was, yes, the board would get 3 hours as long as the venue agreed upon it. The other thing was, I think one of the reasons that we wanted to bring this conversation, back to light 2 years ago was we were running into issues with a few boards where the NA would be the only one that sets up and breaks down. And so once the meeting's over, those that showed up in person would just leave. And you don't really see that anymore. But that was kind of the thing was, hey, we need to get in and out. Let's be a team. This is the board's meeting.
Yes.
We're here for support.
That's
we
right.
as a CEO. But just to, all have some pride in what they're doing there. So maybe that was part of it. But yes, meetings, 3 hours.
Eric
I
Bernal.
know that letter you were talking about. I don't know how exactly that got published. That might have been circulated to a chair, which then went out to more. Regardless, that's all been cleared up. I do see in that testimony you received, there was still some confusion. But same thing with the meeting minutes. People still think that the law says you have to do written minutes, but OIP clearly states that you can do recorded minutes. So we've discussed these things. We've talked to all the boards. When we rolled out YouTube, we rolled out Google Drive. We talked about how these things will benefit the boards and the reasoning for the NCO taking this position with the support that we give to the boards. But there was one more point I wanted to make, and that was on, it was something that you mentioned, meeting minutes. Oh, restricting to 4 pages. I don't know if you've noticed, but especially when agendas get longer, it's not like there's a hard cutoff for 4 pages.
Yeah.
There was definitely a direction which, hey, this was never a transcript and it's consuming a lot of the NCO staff time when they could be better utilized in other means. So to go from 8, 9, 10 pages and bring it closer down to 4, which was a summary, which is what it should be. Especially now with the YouTube recording being the primary, we're definitely there.
And really, with all the things you just said, the solution to this whole thing is to re-educate and let them know what those
Yes.
restrictions are that you have
Yes.
to follow. The other thing is shame on those boards. If the NCO is required to put everything away and that you're the only one set up, the assistant, shame on them. That is not right. The board, the chair is responsible, showing up on time and being able to control and find a workforce to do that. The
And we
NAC
all set up together, and we all
Sure
leave
did.
together.
set up.
Yeah, and things have gotten
Right.
a lot better since then.
Yeah.
This is just why
And
these
here's the other
conversations
thing.
were had.
And the other thing, I really think, I see a positive way forward in this re-education process. As far as the minutes, what everybody's gotta understand, they may not like it, but the thing is though, the neighborhood assistant is limited to what they can do. They're trying to do their best. When it comes to those details that the board says that didn't get in there, they have a secretary. They have a vice chair and they have their chair. They can go ahead and add anything that they want to that thing. And yes, it's gonna go past the 4 pages if that's what they want, but guess what? DNA's not gonna do it. That's their responsibility, they should do that.
Yeah, and if it went to 6, 7
Right.
pages
Right.
with secretary's edits, will be published on the board's website. And
And then the other thing
Everything.
that
It's the
everybody's
board's
understand that Lloyd educated me the last meeting that I was not aware of, because I kept, hitting him up, because I wanna know where all this money's going for Lello. And the thing is, if I got a 90-minute meeting, what about my other minutes I didn't use? Did I bank that? That's not the point. The point is the telecasting, the end result that goes out to the public, the maximum is 3 hours of airtime. There's nothing more than that. So the question is,
That's right. That's right.
on,
Okay,
you know?
Claire, just a second. Okay, Larry,
ahead.
let's summarize so we can take Claire. You good? Okay, Claire.
Okay, so just for an example, as long as we have the recordings online, I mean, and it comes up within a month, because I was preparing testimony for a meeting that happened at the end of the month in January, a council meeting the end of January, but I wanted to review what was said at our mid-January and neighborhood board meeting. And I just went to YouTube and I just listened to the section of the meeting that I wanted to listen to, that I was interested in. I didn't go to the minutes. So I think, yes, you're right when you say that it's a part of a retraining. So this is what I've identified so far, okay? Length of meeting. And under length of meeting, the constraints of Olelo, the 3 hours including setup and breakdown.
No, it's not including setup and breakdown.
It is.
It's not including setup and breakdown. No, we have a 3-hour window for our meeting. The setup and breakdown is before the meeting and after the meeting. The board members helps the NA set up and helps them break down. But we have a 3-hour window for the actual meeting, for recording, as Larry had mentioned.
Okay.
We have a 3-hour window.
Okay. 3-hour window. I'm just doing this in broader areas, and then sometimes the length of meeting is venue driven. Like we can only have the site for 3 hours.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, not NCO
Right.
driven. That's something that's not within our control.
Right. And so then the second
Mahi?
category I have is minutes. They should be summary items as opposed to verbatim issues. Educate and make use of the technology, the recorded technology. There is a kind of a guideline for 4-page limit. And frankly, if you go over 4 pages, then nobody wants to read that. I'd rather watch it on TV, on the technology part. For the third section I have is training. Assist in meeting, let the NCO boards know that they should assist in setup and breakdown. They should familiarize everybody about the recording, availability, assist them with learning how to run a meeting, training, meeting decorum.
No, I need to add an item to that, Claire.
What?
In that category, it's the board chair's responsibility to ensure that each member of the board is trained properly. When we bring on a new member, we sit them down to an experienced member, and I say, here's the neighborhood plan, here's our policies and procedures. And then we just mentor them right there. And then we ensure they take the OIP class. Also, so we ensure they get trained. You just can't send somebody out there. We always mentor them with a senior member.
Yeah, but
it is the board's chair responsibility to ensure everybody's trained. If they're not, then they have to attend to that.
right.
So
But see what we're doing,
issues
we're
that
going to
came up.
try in a question, right? So
Yeah, that's right. I'm just
okay.
making a statement for you.
yeah,
That's right.
and then I took off venue, but I put another category would be NCO staffing, the duties of an NA.
Yes.
And if they needed more, then actually neighborhood commission staffing and actually the commission. Okay, because like we have the chair council chair.
Just a second,
what is it
Mahia.
called? Is it called the council
Okay.
chair? Council chairs. Of chairs. The only I have here. Okay, the last section I have is new policies, but what I don't want the new policies section to be is I don't want it to be a gripe session.
Right.
No. The second
I
line
think-
underneath that would be I don't know how to put it. Actually, it was non-commission generated policies
Yeah,
because
but
the
see,
NCO generated them.
yeah,
And then just
but
leave
see
it at
what
that.
No, but what I'm saying is new policies can be under all of those above categories. Like if a new policy was set,
It was a point. It was an event though. It was an event that carried for a couple months. It was an
yeah,
event.
but it's our survey. We're trying to reflect on the survey. So if a new policy was set for length of minute, I mean pages on minutes, that couldn't come under the minutes section. Or if it was set on the 3 hours time limit, people didn't
But
like
new
it could go under the length
Claire,
of meeting section.
I agree with you, but I think new policies, because it was an event that the commission didn't control, should be a line item.
Well, how would we ask that question though? Steve?
Just put it in there just like that. Just like that.
Do you like the new policies? Is that what you
No.
want to say?
No, I just say new policies introduced without,
Yes.
they were introduced actually without commission input. They went out. Mejia, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention that the word that before new policies was imposed, and this person
That's
writing this simply didn't like the manner in which new policies were, I guess, introduced because they felt it was an imposition, and that was one of the complaints. Yeah, Claire.
Okay, let's caveat that, Claire. That's a good one. Impose new position, because when we generate policies, the commission generates them. They go out for comment to all the boards, and then we get the comments back, and then we implement. We do final draft of the policies.
Okay.
And then they go into the neighborhood plan.
Yeah. So Steve, so couldn't that be then addressed under communication? Another category, communication.
It could be.
Whether it's from NCO or from the commission. But see, I'm trying to set it in a positive tone and not go backwards. So if we're saying that somebody cited an issue of how new policies were imposed upon them, okay, that was a communication issue, right? So, and it maybe needs to be cleared up.
It was a communication and a procedural issue.
Okay, we can say
guys.
communication and procedural issues.
Thank you. I have one item for Dylan. Dylan?
Yes.
Okay. You made a statement, so I'm going to not divert. I want to stay on target on this. You made a statement that OIP came out and said that a video of the
recorded.
Yeah, no, of the board is sufficient, not meeting minutes.
No, he said it was.
The information that I'm referring to is available on OIP's website, and they even came up with a simple guide that just clarifies. I actually looked at it today, but I'm just referring to information that was on there. When the law changed and allowed for these virtual recordings, that is when we got the idea, hey, that's how we could really improve, because one, it's fully transparent, and two, it can reduce the time, therefore it's efficient for all parties. I'm sorry that some people felt that, we were trying to cut out the comments that they made, but the video serves as the primary record, and then the written summary is what we call it, because the video is actually the minutes. So the written summary that accompanies it has really the action. It's who was there, when did this meeting take place, and what is the action that the board took, if there was any motions. We also timestamp everything. So that's what the law requires if you choose to do it that way.
So really,
I understand that. We're talking, just a second, we're talking about two different issues. What you just stated, Dylan, is operational. Okay, and it's operational procedural. It's not illegal. If OIP said that the video is sufficient, that means we can watch videos in court. The court doesn't allow that. The judge can say no, just give me the written narrative. Because when we've gone to adjudicate into persons going to court, the judge says, give me the narrative. And if we try to introduce something beyond that, they can deny that. And they do that all the time because it's their court. They run the court. And they're used to dealing with uh, narrative and pictures, not necessarily a video, because then you have to verify the integrity of the video. You have to have it posted. You have to have it in. So the court has always stated they need the written narrative. When I've did adjudication before in construction before, when I was consulting for the state, when there was a went to um, adjudication, the judge always said, like the construction guys say, here, give me the drawing. And they give them the drawing, go, I built it for the drawing. And then the procurement person would said, yeah, but I gave you the spec. But an engineer drew the drawing. The judge says, they'll say to the judge, which one takes precedence? The judge always says in written narrative. It always says, I write specs, always written narrative. So that
Okay.
means that the video is secondary to the narrative. That's why if I'm up on the OIP website, I'm thinking that if the OIP said the video is acceptable, I don't think to a court they can say you only need the video. It has to, it's not
No, no,
either
it's
or,
not
it's yes
it's
and
not
yes.
only, it's a combination of both. But because the video is actually the primary record, that's why the written summary, if you compare the difference in OIP's requirements for written minutes versus the written summary, the written minutes have a couple extra details, such as the secretary or whoever's drafting the minutes, in this case it's the neighborhood assistant. In the written minutes, they would be required to write down anything that a board member requested be included in the minutes. That part is actually taken out when you look at the written summary version, because the video is every word that was ever said at the meeting. But let's just keep it, we're talking about neighborhood boards here. We're not talking about the courts, but we're talking about sunshine law, OIP guidance. And when we came out with this idea to transition from written minutes to the written summaries with the video record, we went to OIP and gave them the draft, and we gave them examples, and we said, does this satisfy the law? And they had one correction, and the only correction was if we could add the Honolulu-Hawaii 96817 to the top of the minutes. Other than that, they said it looked good, it satisfied all the requirements. So we got that approval back in 2023.
Understood. The actual quote in the neighborhood plan is correct. When it talks about it needs to have sufficient description.
Sorry.
Doesn't
The
have to be
neighborhood
verbatim.
plan, I think we've all agreed the neighborhood plan is outdated because it doesn't even mention virtual meetings. So if we go by
No,
that,
that's
then the boards can't
no.
have these
We're
what
not
we call hybrid meetings.
right. We're not negating the addition of the new information. What we're saying, what is there does stand. What's there does stand. It stands legal scrutiny
And what does it say?
in that category. In that category, it does.
The plan says the.
It hasn't changed. The law hasn't changed on that. It's accorded with the HRS.
Our plan doesn't mention the written summaries.
No, I understand, but what does the plan say that we're not in compliance with? Sorry, Stephen. What does the plan
Yeah, go
say
ahead.
that the NCO is not in compliance with? Can you hear me?
Oh, are you talking to me or are you talking to Dylan?
Yeah, no, I'm talking to you. Because you said the plan stands, which is fine.
I didn't say that's not compliant. I'm not referring to NCO. I'm referring to OIP and the statement that Dylan had made that the video is sufficient. And I came back to the legal precedents that what's correct in I don't have the plan in front of me. The quote in the plan is correct to have enough information so that, I'll just paraphrase it, that everybody knows the factually what occurred in the meeting, and also who did what. We need to know that, and that's in the meeting minutes. Either way, you can see it from the video.
Just to be crystal clear, the law to do the written summary with the video means you have to have them both, and that's what we do. I never
fine.
wanted to say that the video is the only thing we do. We do the video with the written summary, and
Nope,
the written summary has
perfect.
timestamps and action, everything.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Yeah,
Good.
I
Okay,
agree.
Claire, go ahead.
No, I
The
agree.
minutes-
I think the video will give us verbatim. Okay? The written minutes, which can only need to be 4 pages because it's a summary of what action was taken. If you need to go back and see what happened, how did you get to that decision or action, then you can go to the video. So they work hand in hand. But what I'm saying is that needs to be
Both.
communicated to the people so that they understand that it's not one or the other, that the
Right.
the minutes serve as the written summary of the action, and that if anything needed to be, if you want to go look at it verbatim, you can go to the recording, because everybody is now on recording. So that, to me, that's the value of us paying for Olelo. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And kind of thing. And I think we need to then tell the neighborhood board members that prior to their meeting, if they want to know more of what's in the summary part of the minutes, then they should review the board, the video, the recording, and then when they ask for approval of the minutes, if they find that there's an inconsistency in what was recorded and what was stated in the summary, those are the things that they raise at the meeting.
Great. Can you put that in your category of communication?
I
That
always talk
the
better.
written narrative is actually the written narrative is the legal tender before.
Okay. Yeah. If I could say a couple of things.
Okay.
It's like getting the legal information, but the actual video also provides more in the context of what
And,
happened, because then you see blow by blow what happened. So it's not either or, it's both.
Cameron, it's at a maximum.
I thought I did the makeup for nothing.
Oh, wow.
It's free.
Okay, guys.
Great.
Sorry, I thought I was on the camera. Couple things that we should know, that the minutes we do currently has been approved by OIP.
Yeah.
So that is, I don't think there's any question if it's legal or not legal. It has been approved by OIP. And if they go to court and it's not approved, I mean, it's not right, then that's fine. But right now, the entity that we go to make sure that our minutes are legitimate is the Office of Information Practices. And they have said it's fine, it's good. So we're good on the minutes. The second thing is, when it comes to the law, in the plan, it refers to the minutes, and so does the law. In fact, the plans just took exactly what the law says and put it in the plan. And the first sentence, which nobody wants to read, because everybody who doesn't like the minutes we do now doesn't read the first line. And the first line says this. The first line says, "The board shall draft written minutes." It doesn't say NCO, it says the board. A board member checked with OIP and says, "Isn't the NCO supposed to do the minutes? Aren't they responsible?" And OIP said, "No. The entity that's responsible for the minutes is the board." And it specifically said it's not NCO, it's not the neighborhood assistant, it is the board that's responsible. So if the board would like to change the minutes, they can do whatever they want because it's their minutes. And I think we should understand that. Whatever
That's
they
an
want,
operational issue, because they're not trained to do
no,
minutes.
that's
You
their
guys are.
decision.
That's why you have it. That's why you guys are getting paid.
No,
we
wait,
don't
wait,
get
wait,
paid
wait,
to do
wait,
minutes.
wait, wait,
We
wait.
do not get paid to do minutes.
That's part of the job. That's
Okay.
part
No,
of
it's
the
not.
job. It
No,
always
it's
has
not.
been
My
in the
hand
last
is
not.
10 years.
hand is up.
We're not going to debate it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yes,
We
Claire,
do a
you
draft.
first.
We do a draft as a courtesy, but the final responsibility is the board according to law. So
Yeah.
once we do the draft, they can change whatever they want.
Right. So, Lloyd, I agree with you that the board has the responsibility. But I think
Right.
rather than get into, look at us now. Can you see us trying to get this out to all the neighborhood boards? I think it's a matter of communications and how we tell it or explain it to the boards, and saying that it has IOP, what is that? Informational IOP says that
OIP.
the OIP, I'm sorry, Office of Informational Science, together with the recorded and the written, which is a summary, work hand in hand, and that is the board's responsibility when they approve the minutes, because they can correct the draft, right? There's a draft
That's right.
corrected. they have to then look at the draft. If they see an issue with that, then they should also be looking at the recorded issue, and then that's what gets raised in the neighborhood board meeting. And that's something that maybe they have to be trained to do, because they have to understand that yes, the minutes are a function of the board, not necessarily the responsibility of the neighborhood commission, the NA,
It,
neighborhood.
the board does take ownership. That's correct.
All right,
Mahi,
so but they have to
Mahia,
feel that.
you're muted, honey.
Yeah.
Now,
Which is why I mentioned at our January meeting the responsibility of the chairs and the secretaries, because we have officers. And so I think that under training, if training is a category for the survey, have questions in the survey asking the officers, especially the chairs and the secretaries, do you understand your responsibilities?
that's right.
And to let them know that the neighborhood assistants serve as a support, which brings
Hmm.
it back to ultimately the board secretaries are responsible for the meeting minutes.
Right.
So that's why if you look at our meeting minutes from last time, that's item number 4 that I mentioned.
Right.
Do they know their responsibilities?
That's right.
So that and just a side note, I believe that there are boards that have they want to remain in old school, so to speak. They want to keep writing very detailed minutes. And for some of them that want to remain functioning in that manner, they may have a problem transitioning to less information on the minutes instead of such detailed narratives, and shifting over to realizing if you want narratives, it's the video. So there may be some people on some boards that they're struggling with shifting that way.
Understood. Well, also the secretaries of the boards can always review and add to those minutes if they want to, because the board owns the minutes.
Mhm.
The NA produces it for the board, but the board owns the minutes.
But they're not used to that. It's a new thing for them. So they have to be trained to do that. And the
That's fine.
chairs have to be told that that is a responsibility of the
Their
office.
responsibility, right?
Yeah. So
Well,
even
remember, no,
okay,
I'm sorry. When a secretary or a board picks up meeting minutes, they're not creating a format. It's easy to insert more information than it is to create. The NAs have already done the format. They already done the work. We're just adding to it, adding to the detail if they so choose to. Because
yeah,
then the board has to pass the minutes, and we do that every time. We
but
look at it, we add to it on the fly, matter of fact.
yeah, but as long as there's an understanding that people know it's really not the responsibility of the neighborhood assistant.
Of the neighborhood, right? Right.
And a board can choose to explain to the secretary, one of your responsibilities would be to review the recorded and the minutes, the draft, and see if they match. Okay, and if anything needs to be
That's
added.
right.
The chairs do that as it is. And then if each board member wants to do that before their meeting, they should also do that too if they have a problem with the way the minutes were drafted. But the approval of the minutes has to be more than just a rubber stamp of what the NA presents. They have to take a more active role in
Providing minutes. Yeah.
Right.
Great. Okay. Real good.
Chair.
Yes, please.
In the I know, well, there are probably secretaries who don't know how to take minutes. Maybe providing those that need, besides training, a minutes template where it's just fill in the pukas, so that they can learn, they can take minutes. Just a suggestion.
But my head, that's already done for them on the draft.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
So they're just really checking content. Yeah, what was said and was it accurately
Right.
On
captured?
the video.
Yeah,
Okay.
was it
Got
actually
okay,
captured?
Claire.
Yeah,
Okay.
because that would make the job easier for someone to step into that role of secretary. Because if they had to learn the job of being a secretary, you might get less people willing to do that,
Right. Right.
kind
So
of
then
thing.
it comes back to them understanding what their responsibility is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a document online, the Oahu Neighborhood Board System Member Guidebook. This should
Mm-hmm.
be in the hands of every board member. It has the oath, it has everything to it. Talks about the system, the commission, the boards, the meeting days, the duties of the chair. Goes through all that. And that's something that also we provide that to our members. And it should probably be Claire, you might want to mention that the Oahu Neighborhood Board System Member Guidebook should be in the possession of every board member because it lays it out. We know that the plan is the Bible for us, okay? But this is what you keep with you when you're at the meetings. It
What did you
delineates
call
everything.
what did you call it? Oahu Neighborhood Board System.
Oahu Neighborhood Board System Member Guidebook.
Okay.
It's online. It's
Now,
online. I can email it to you.
okay, I'll be the contrary person. You know that there are people that run for the neighborhood board
Hmm.
to carry their own issues forward, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So they're not necessarily interested in
Community.
community based for everybody, the neighborhood guidelines. They want to do whatever they need to do to get their plan across. Yeah, kind of thing.
Hmm.
So, as much as we can say that, we can ask, that's part of, to me, that's part of training for the neighborhood chairs. Yeah, this is a tool for you to have in your
Hmm.
toolbox. Yeah,
That's
so that's
right.
part of
That's right.
training, and it's a
Absolutely.
tool for you to. But you're a good neighborhood board chair, but you get a gamut across all the different chairs, right? Uh, sometimes
Hmm.
it's whoever stepped back the slowest, right? That becomes the.
Hmm.
Sorry, I was going to say it a
We're
different way,
we're
but you
dealing
get
with.
it exactly right.
Hey, guys,
Yes, sorry, Larry.
Lloyd's got something here real quick, but hey, we're talking solutions. Let's get away from all the solutions. The point
Okay.
is, what do we get out of the survey? What are the concerns that came up? Bulletize them, one page, and get that to all of us to see. But Lloyd, go
Okay.
ahead.
This is what it looks like.
Tell what you had.
Yeah, Clear right now is producing the. We're talking the cover
That's
memo
okay.
because the cover memo is going to go with all of our information as a draft to the next commission meeting. So right now, Larry, we're still on the subject of the memo. She's writing down the categories she's putting in the cover memo. The cover memo goes on our documents.
It's very no. I wouldn't submit all of our questions to the whole group.
No.
That was our job. I think we just submit what Larry called a memorandum of record.
Yeah,
This is
memorandum of record.
this is what the survey committee has come up with. Of all the things that were listed there, we've condensed it and we've divided it up into these issues. If anybody else on the neighborhood commission feels that we haven't addressed some issue, then that would be done at the big meeting.
Yeah, and I have one important point, Steve. I
Okay.
don't know. So I don't know
Yes.
your communication with the NCO, but I would most strongly recommend that he gets a chance to see all the comments that were made because if it was me in charge, I want to see how my staff is doing. I want to see those remarks that came in. If there's anything
Agreed. He's
personal,
on the.
I want to see
Right.
it because I am gonna counter this because if that person is putting information out to other board members and everything, that's going against the grain, and that's got to be stopped.
Understood. Right.
I think
Yeah. No,
Larry.
he's CC'd on everything.
Yeah, I think Larry,
Agreed.
though, in reality, and Lloyd, I'm not standing in that on that side, but I think in reality, a lot of the criticism has not been directed at the neighborhood assistants. It's been directed towards you, right? Somebody didn't like what you were doing, your new policy. Um, and from the comments that I read from the whole 18 pages of narrative, I mean, it's the same issue over and over and over, said the same way, kind of thing. So I think if we really truly want to make it a survey that is um, indicative of all the neighborhood boards, we categorize it this way, not necessarily addressed every single person that wrote something in, but rather that summarize it to be these categories that we want to highlight, and these are the questions we want to address, and the survey, and go from there. Put it in a positive light.
Yep.
Okay, so then Claire, you're proposing that we just give the summary memo for this next commission meeting and
Yeah.
then compile all the information in one at our next meeting? Is that what you're proposing?
What information? All the 18 pages?
Well, our task was to go through what we have and
Right.
extract those items that we would like to see presented, the line items that are going to go compiled with the existing questions that will go into a final electronic compilation for the survey proper to go out to all board members. So this memo you're generating is going to give a summary to Cheryl Sherrill and the other commissioners, and that's just fine. And then we still need to have all of our information in one-liners, like Larry had mentioned, compiled, and then I can put them together with the ones I already have, and then present those at the following meeting. And those are the items that actually will go into the electronic submission of the survey.
Frankly, Steve,
Yes.
if we can take these areas of concern, and I mean, I'm not trying to minimize the effort you put down in the first survey draft, but if we can take these areas of concern and then see how they interface with the neighborhood executive secretary, neighborhood boards, or Lloyd survey, see how they interface, and see if some of those issues are being addressed through those questions, we just send out one survey. I think the whole purpose of asking us for the neighborhood board, the commission, to wait on their survey was so that we could send out one survey.
We are going to, that's what Cheryl said. We're going to send out one survey.
Right.
If NCO wants to send out another survey, that's up to them. But Chair wants us to send out one survey. That's correct.
Right. What I'm saying is we can interface what the neighborhood commission wants to do, survey, because maybe they have a broader gamut of information or issues that aren't addressed here, and see if they interface together, and we then address, like, I don't know, Lloyd, do you have a section on that survey that addresses minutes?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's going to prolong the process, though. You're looking at, now you're going to put things out, and then Chair Larry had mentioned about, let's wrap this up, and I'm in favor of that too. So let's present the cover memo at the next commission meeting, and then I'd like to get back from you all your one-liners on the questions and statements that you feel should go into the electronic survey. I'd like to see those. So you can either email those to me, that'd be great. And I'll combine it with what we have. And we'll talk about it at the commission about which way we'd like to go with that. Let's put it up for discussion. Okay, guys? That way we talk about it with everybody. We have concurrence. We have agreement.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Good plan.
Hey,
Thank you
Chair.
very much for everything.
Chair,
Okay, let me go back to the meeting. Hang on
Chair.
just 1 second.
Chair, one thing. Are we done with the survey?
I can't see you.
We're not gonna go into another survey, are we? Because it should be an input going to the neighborhood planning committee, and then the solutions
No,
go
we're
in.
done. What you've done is done. Just email it to me so I have a copy of it.
Okay.
then we'll integrate.
Yeah, 'cause I don't wanna see
We'll
anything
bring
go
that up
back
to the
out
commission. That's
to the
correct.
boards. Except if you wanted to put out something that says, this is what we saw, this was that one pager that you're gonna get to the commission after it's all approved with the NCO, then then that can be, the commission can send that out to the boards through the NCO to say, this is what we got out of the surveys. These were all the key points. Let them know that.
Yeah, and if it's
Okay, guys, we'll talk about how Chair O'Shea wants to handle that, but I agree. Go ahead, Claire.
yeah, and if it's the same questions that the NCO is asking, it's the same questions that the neighborhood commission is asking. We shouldn't have to answer it twice.
Yeah.
You know, the board.
And Claire,
That's why
would
I
you
said-
Well,
just,
the commission survey is a commission survey. What NCO wants to do with their time is up to them. That's fine. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Chair, Lloyd sent to us several months ago a draft of the NCO's 44 survey questions. And I sat down and I read, and everyone got the email. I read their draft survey questions, and there were some questions that you developed that they also had similarities to. So there are, Claire, to answer your question, there are some questions that are, you know, the same, very similar to what Stephen had created. So if you want to go back to your emails, you're going to have to go back a few months. If you check your emails, you can find the draft survey that Lloyd sent to us. I think it was July or July.
I did find that.
August.
Thank you very much. I
Yeah.
did come across that. It looks like it was almost reformatting some of the questions that we already did. They did a different type of explanation on the subject matter. That's correct.
Well, and I think
Okay, guys.
have we changed some of the questions, Lloyd, based on
Yeah.
some rulings that we've gotten?
We are rewording some, and it's a question of what is a better way to ask the question. And we asked everything from, how do you like to attend your meeting? Do you like virtual? Do you like in person? Down to minutes. Do you read your minutes? And just to go back to minutes, not to beat the dead horse, but 99% of the boards, 99% of the boards and board members do not question me or have any question about minutes. I mean, if you read the minutes, it's all approve as drafted, approve as drafted, approve as drafted.
Yeah.
And the point is that we only have a few people that don't like the way we do minutes. And the feedback we got from Commissioner Melendez in terms of all of this information on minutes and supposedly all these people complaining. I can tell you, man, it's got to be 3 or 4 people at the most that are complaining, and it's because they don't like the way we do it. But I've told them, if you don't like it and you wanted to add something in, add it in.
Add it in.
Edit the.
Yeah, we always do that. That's fine. Okay.
What you see,
Thank you
what
for
you
that.
see-
I just emailed everybody the guidebook also, so you have the guidebook.
Yeah, I just want. Can I say something about the guidebook? We don't use that anymore. It just does not work for us. And it's just, again, it was drafted a long time ago. It hasn't been updated. There's a number of things that are not quite right. So we don't use that as a guidebook anymore. We don't hand that out. Just an FYI. If anything, maybe what we can do is we can look at redoing it or bringing it up to date.
actually be better if you did a
Okay,
video.
so to me,
Okay. Yes. Claire, go ahead.
So to me, I think that's why if only a few people are raising complaints or issues, when you do one survey, and then you can come back and you can say this survey was held island-wide, sponsored by the NCO and the commission office, and these are the results, and we're going to work on those issues from there. You put the backing across all boards. So if it's only 1 or 2 boards that have an issue with the way they're taking minutes, and you have 30 something other people saying the minutes are fine the way they are, then that it's not necessarily anymore an attack of one neighborhood board raising this complaint over and over and over against the commission or against the NCO office. Okay? It is,
Mhm.
this is what was addressed island wide. This is policy that was stated among all the boards. So you put that, you present that unified front. You don't have these people picking us apart with their grandstand. Well, sorry, I didn't say that. With their minutia.
The commission survey has always been owned by the commission. When my
I know.
last discussed this at our commission meeting on Monday. So, but if you're saying to combine the two, I don't know about that, because then it's going to set another precedence. And I don't know if we can do that. But we
What's
can discuss it Monday,
okay? Okay.
because
Okay.
because in order to do that, I'd have to send a memo out to all the boards and ask their opinion of that.
Why?
Because why? Because they're used to us following a certain procedure, and that's what happened before when the policies that Maya mentioned. When we send something out to them, we let them know it's coming, and we ask their opinion. We work with them.
Yeah,
We
but
represent them.
I understand that, Steve. But if we're saying that the survey is
It's a courtesy, actually.
well, if they're saying the survey is conducted by both the neighborhood commission office and the neighborhood board commission, I mean, what it's not that we're saying we're doing away with our role as the commission. I don't
We'd have to discuss that.
right. All right.
Go ahead, Maya.
Um, I think that in working collaboratively with the NCO, Lloyd and his staff, I think a survey that should go out should be a survey that asks them, all the boards, what do they need, instead of
Mhm.
saying to them, hey, tell us what to ask you.
No, that's
We need
correct.
to,
That's right.
yeah, we need to ask them, what do you need? Not you
That,
tell us how to ask you. Yeah,
no,
or
that's
what to
correct.
ask you.
And that's why
Okay,
I asked them to give us input for the survey. That was the
yeah.
reason for it. So we know how to best serve them. Okay, guys, it's 7:35. Anything else? Anybody in the room? Larry?
Anybody else?
No, I'm good. Let's put this thing to
Anybody
bed.
online?
Good
Okay, guys,
results.
so then Claire, when you get a draft of that memo, would you email it to all commissioners here, please? And then
Sure.
we'll look at presenting that. We're
Claire,
going to
if you need
present
help,
that so that
Claire, if you need help,
I
let me
can
know.
present it for the commissioners, to Chair Cheryl, in behalf of our survey committee. And I would like to have you all email me a compilation of the one-liners you have received that you'd like to see in the electronic version of the survey going out,
I'm gonna
which
ditto
you've
what
already
Claire
worked on.
did.
So Larry, just email me what you got, and I'll combine them all. Okay, guys?
Okay.
Okay.
Any questions? Okay, guys, thank you so much. So Dylan, I'm going to hereby adjourn this meeting as of 7:36. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate our
Good
hard work.
night.
A lot of
Yeah.
good
Good
decisions
night.
tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Thank
Good
you.
night.
See you at the commission
Good
meeting on
night.
Monday.